The football world has officially lost its mind, and Shedeur Sanders is the reason why. The internet is absolutely on fire right now after jaw-dropping footage emerged from Cleveland Browns practice on Black Friday. And let me tell you, what went down in the snow has everyone talking. From viral Instagram posts to heartwarming Thanksgiving moments with his brother Shiloh, Shedeur Sanders is dominating headlines once again, and this time, he might just be changing the entire culture in Cleveland. Buckle up, because what I'm about to break down for you is nothing short of sensational. Picture this: Black Friday morning. Most people are out shopping or recovering from their turkey comas, but not the Cleveland Browns. While 6 inches of snow blanketed the city, turning everything into a winter wonderland, the Browns were out there grinding at practice. But this wasn't just any ordinary practice session. This was the kind of practice that sends shockwaves through social media and has fans losing their absolute minds. Why? Because Shedeur Sanders was out there in the elements, looking like a seasoned veteran who was born to play in these conditions. The Cleveland Browns Instagram page dropped photos that immediately set the internet ablaze. We're talking about images of Shedeur Sanders in just his helmet. No shoulder pads, no leg pads, just pure raw talent on display in the freezing cold. The snow is coming down hard, but Shedeur looks completely unbothered, like he's been preparing for this moment his entire life. Those cleats he's rocking? Absolutely filthy in the best way possible. The man looks locked in, focused, and ready to take on whatever challenge comes his way. Now here's where things get really interesting. Fans and observers have started noticing something peculiar about the Browns players during these practice sessions. There's an energy shift happening in Cleveland that nobody can ignore. The players seem happier, more engaged, more alive than they've been all season. You can see it in their body language, in the way they interact with Shedeur, in the smiles on their faces despite the brutal weather conditions. Myles Garrett is out there looking pumped. Other defensive players are bringing an intensity to practice that frankly hasn't been there for weeks. It's like Shedeur Sanders has injected a shot of adrenaline straight into the heart of this team. The vibes are completely different now. Whether it's the excitement of having a quarterback with his pedigree and potential, or whether it's the fresh perspective he brings, something has fundamentally changed in that locker room. Players who looked dejected and defeated just weeks ago now have a spring in their step. That's the Shedeur effect. And it's real. Let's talk about what makes this even more remarkable. Shedeur Sanders played his college ball at Colorado, which means he's no stranger to harsh weather conditions. While other quarterbacks might crumble when the temperature drops and the snow starts falling, Shedeur has been preparing for these exact conditions. Those snowy practices in Boulder, they weren't just character-building exercises. They were preparation for moments exactly like this. When other quarterbacks see snow and think about how difficult it's going to be to grip the ball and make accurate throws, Shedeur sees an opportunity to showcase his mental toughness and adaptability. The snow practice photos tell a story that goes beyond just football. They reveal a young man who refuses to be fazed by adversity. 6 inches of snow? No problem. Freezing temperatures? Bring it on. Limited visibility? That's what champions overcome. This is the kind of mental fortitude that separates good quarterbacks from great ones. And Shedeur is showing everyone that he belongs in the latter category. But here's where things get a bit mysterious and even more intriguing. Word on the street is that the Browns have started limiting what media can film during quarterback practice sessions. Mary Kay Cabot, who had been providing fans with incredible footage of Shedeur's development and practice routines, seems to have had her access restricted. The offense is apparently working behind closed doors now, away from prying eyes and cameras. Why would the Browns suddenly clamp down on media access? What are they protecting? What don't they want other teams to see? The speculation is running wild. Some believe the Browns are hiding their offensive game plan to prevent other teams from getting a preview of what they're cooking up with Shedeur at the helm. Others think they're protecting their young quarterback from unnecessary scrutiny and pressure as he develops. Whatever the reason, the secrecy has only amplified interest in what Shedeur is doing behind those closed doors. It's classic intrigue, and it has fans desperate for any glimpse of what their potential franchise quarterback is working on. Now let's shift gears to something that shows the kind of person Shedeur Sanders really is beyond the football field. Thanksgiving brought us some absolutely heartwarming and hilarious content featuring Shedeur and his brother Shiloh Sanders. The Sanders brothers gave us a glimpse into their family dynamic, and it was pure gold from start to finish. In a video posted to Shiloh's YouTube channel, we got to see the brotherly love and banter that makes this family so special. The video's title alone grabbed everyone's attention, claiming that Shedeur promised to send Shiloh $1 million. Let that sink in for a moment. $1 million. That's the kind of generosity and family loyalty that you don't see every day in professional sports. During the conversation, Shiloh jokingly mentioned that he'd have to find a real job now, but Shedeur's response was immediate and genuine. He told his brother not to worry, that he's got him covered, that he just needs to get himself out of the hole first, financially speaking. The love between these brothers is palpable. Shiloh tried to downplay it, saying Shedeur didn't have to send him anything, but you could tell he was touched by the gesture. This is what family is all about. This is the kind of bond that money can't buy, but that success can definitely strengthen. The Sanders family. Thanksgiving prayer was another moment that captured hearts across the internet. Shiloh, always the entertainer, led a hilarious yet touching prayer before their holiday meal. He thanked God for finally letting Shedeur start for the Cleveland Browns, asking for divine intervention to help his brother throw for 500 passing yards in his upcoming game. The specificity was comedy gold. 500 yards. Not 499, not 501. Exactly 500. But here's where Shedeur showed his leadership and maturity. He immediately corrected his brother, emphasizing that the win is what matters most, not personal statistics. That single moment revealed everything you need to know about Shedeur Sanders as a competitor and teammate. He's not chasing stats or personal glory. He's focused on winning games and helping his team succeed. That's franchise quarterback mentality right there. That's the kind of attitude that transforms franchises and builds dynasties. Of course, Shiloh, being Shiloh, couldn't help but add that they still want those passing yards along with the win. And honestly, he's got a point. The Browns have been so unreliable and unpredictable this season that fans are rightfully nervous. If Shedeur has an outstanding performance but the team loses, there's a legitimate fear that the organization might make another questionable decision at quarterback. The fan base has been burned too many times to trust the front office completely. So yes, pile up those yards and get that win. Leave no doubt about who the quarterback of this team should be moving forward. The prayer continued with Shiloh thanking God for their mom's cooking, specifically calling out those collard greens that apparently had the elbow grease fully applied. Food is such an integral part of any family celebration, and hearing Shiloh give those greens the recognition they deserved was both funny and relatable. Every family has that one dish that steals the show on Thanksgiving. And clearly, Mrs. Sanders brought her A-game to the kitchen. Then came the kicker. Shiloh asked God to please allow Shedeur to perform well enough to pull some strings and get him on the Browns too. The audacity, the confidence, the brotherly scheming. It was perfect. And you know what? Shiloh might actually be serious about that. He's a talented player in his own right, and the idea of the Sanders brothers playing together in Cleveland would be absolutely electric for that fan base. Can you imagine the marketing opportunities, the jersey sales, the storylines? The Browns would be printing money. Throughout the video, you could see Shedeur studying his playbook even on Thanksgiving Day. That level of dedication and commitment to the craft is what separates the good from the great. While others were fully checked out and enjoying their day off, Shedeur was making sure he knew every detail of every play. He was preparing himself mentally for the challenge ahead. That's not something you can coach. That's internal drive. That's the mindset of someone who understands the opportunity in front of him and refuses to let it slip away. Let's circle back to what's happening in Cleveland and why this matters so much for the franchise's future. The Browns have been searching for their franchise quarterback for what feels like forever. The list of names who have come through Cleveland and failed is staggeringly long. First-round picks, free agent signings, veteran stopgaps, none of them have been the answer. The quarterback carousel has been spinning nonstop, leaving fans dizzy and desperate for stability at the most important position in football. Enter Shedeur Sanders, the son of an NFL legend, a player with championship pedigree from his time at Jackson State and Colorado, a quarterback with arm talent, mobility, intelligence, and perhaps most importantly, the mental makeup to handle the pressure of being an NFL starter. When the Browns finally gave him the starting job, it felt like a seismic shift in the organization's direction. This wasn't just another quarterback change. This felt different. This felt significant. The evidence is mounting that Shedeur might actually be the real deal. His preparation habits are impeccable. His demeanor under pressure is calm and collected. His relationship with teammates appears genuine and positive. The intangibles that scouts and general managers talk about, Shedeur seems to have them in abundance. You can't teach the kind of confidence he displays without it crossing over into arrogance. You can't manufacture the work ethic that has him studying plays on national holidays. These are the traits of someone destined for greatness. What makes Shedeur's situation in Cleveland so fascinating is the intersection of legacy, opportunity, and timing. He comes from football royalty. His father, Deion Sanders, is one of the most electrifying players in NFL history and is now proving himself as an elite college coach. The Sanders name carries weight, expectations, and a proven winner's mentality. But Shedeur isn't riding on his father's coattails. He's carving out his own path, building his own legacy, and doing it with a style and grace that has won over skeptics. The timing of his opportunity couldn't be more perfect either. The Browns are in desperate need of hope. The fan base has suffered through disappointment after disappointment, false dawn after false dawn. They need someone to believe in. They need a reason to be excited about the future. Shedeur Sanders represents that hope. He's young, talented, charismatic, and hungry to prove himself at the highest level. If he can deliver wins and electrifying performances, he won't just be a quarterback for the Browns. He'll be a savior for a franchise and a city that has waited far too long for their football team to matter again. The snow practice footage serves as the perfect metaphor for what Shedeur represents. While others might see harsh conditions as an obstacle, he sees them as an opportunity. While others might complain about the cold and the difficulty, he embraces the challenge. That's the mentality Cleveland needs. That's the attitude that turns franchises around. That's what winners do. Social media has absolutely exploded with reactions to everything Shedeur related this past week. Twitter is flooded with Browns fans expressing optimism for the first time in years. Instagram is packed with clips and photos being analyzed frame by frame. YouTube channels are churning out content discussing every aspect of Shedeur's game and his impact on the team. The engagement numbers are through the roof. This isn't just a quarterback change. This is a cultural moment for the Cleveland Browns franchise. Fan sentiment has shifted dramatically. Where there was once cynicism and resignation, there's now genuine excitement. Where there was once apathy, there's now passionate debate and discussion. The Shedeur Sanders era has breathed new life into a fan base that desperately needed something to care about. Jersey sales are reportedly spiking. Stadium attendance projections are being revised upward. The entire vibe around the Browns has changed almost overnight. Critics will say it's too early to declare Shedeur the answer. They'll point out that he's still early in his career, that the NFL is unforgiving, that many promising young quarterbacks have flamed out spectacularly. And you know what? They're not wrong to be cautious. The NFL is littered with cautionary tales of quarterbacks who showed early promise but couldn't sustain success. The league has a way of humbling even the most talented players. But here's the counterargument. Everything we've seen from Shedeur Sanders suggests he's built differently. The preparation, the poise, the leadership, the family support system, the mental toughness on display in that snow practice, all of it points to someone who has what it takes to succeed at the highest level. Is there risk? Absolutely. Is there a chance this doesn't work out? Of course. But there's also a very real possibility that the Browns have finally found their guy. And that possibility is worth getting excited about. The upcoming game is going to be absolutely massive. All eyes will be on Shedeur Sanders. The pressure will be immense. The expectations are sky high. But if that Thanksgiving prayer is any indication, if those snow practice photos are any preview, if the energy shift in the locker room is any sign, then Shedeur is ready for this moment. He's been preparing for it his entire life. Imagine if Shedeur goes out there and delivers a performance for the ages. Imagine if he throws for those 500 yards his brother prayed for and leads the Browns to a crucial victory. The internet would absolutely break. The highlights would be played on loop for days. The conversation around the Browns would shift from disappointment and dysfunction to hope and possibility. That's what a franchise-altering performance looks like, and Shedeur has the talent to deliver exactly that. The Sanders family dynamic adds another layer of intrigue to this entire story. Deion Sanders watching his son take the reins of an NFL franchise. Shiloh supporting his brother while harboring his own professional ambitions. The family prayers and brotherly banter that humanize these athletes and remind us that they're real people with real relationships beyond the game. It's compelling stuff that transcends football and taps into universal themes of family, ambition, and loyalty. Cleveland as a city deserves this moment. The fans have suffered through heartbreak after heartbreak. They've remained loyal through terrible seasons and organizational dysfunction. They've shown up and supported their team, even when there wasn't much to cheer about. If Shedeur Sanders can deliver wins and excitement, if he can restore pride to the Browns franchise, he won't just be a successful quarterback. He'll be a folk hero in Cleveland. His legacy will be cemented forever. The secrecy around practice, the viral social media moments, the visible energy shift in the locker room, the snow practice that showcased his mental toughness, it all adds up to something special brewing in Cleveland. The Browns might actually have something here. After years of searching, after countless failed experiments at quarterback, they might have finally struck gold with Shedeur Sanders. What happens next will determine whether this is the beginning of something beautiful or just another false start in Cleveland's long history of quarterback disappointments. But based on everything we've seen so far, based on the evidence that continues to mount, this feels different. This feels real. Shedeur Sanders might just be the answer the Browns and their long-suffering fans have been desperately searching for. The football world is watching. The pressure is on. The stage is set. And Shedeur Sanders appears ready to deliver a performance that will have everyone talking for weeks to come. That snow practice wasn't just preparation for a game. It was preparation for a legacy. It was a statement to the league that a new force has arrived in Cleveland, and he's not backing down from any challenge. So here we are, on the precipice of something potentially spectacular. The internet is buzzing. The fans are energized. The team looks rejuvenated. And Shedeur Sanders is at the center of it all. Whether he's studying plays on Thanksgiving, joking with his brother about million-dollar promises, or battling through 6 inches of snow at practice, Shedeur is showing everyone that he has what it takes to succeed at the highest level of football. The Cleveland Browns story has been one of frustration and unfulfilled potential for far too long. But maybe, just maybe, Shedeur Sanders is the protagonist who finally changes the narrative. Maybe he's the one who brings winning football back to Cleveland. Maybe years from now, we'll look back at these snow practice photos and Thanksgiving videos as the beginning of something legendary. Only time will tell, but right now the signs are pointing in a very promising direction. If you've made it this far, you know you're just as invested in this story as everyone else. Shedeur Sanders is must-watch television right now, and the Browns are suddenly one of the most intriguing teams in the entire league. Make sure you hit that like button if you're excited about what Shedeur brings to Cleveland. Drop a comment below with your predictions for his first start and tell me if you think the Browns have finally found their franchise quarterback. And don't forget to subscribe because this story is just getting started and you're not going to want to miss a single moment of what comes next. The Shedeur Sanders era in Cleveland is here, and it's going to be one wild ride. Peace out.